You're listening to the Tumbling Saber Podcast, a member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. Check us out on the web at starwarscommonwealth.com, on iTunes, Facebook, and Twitter, and take your first step into a larger world. Everybody, welcome to episode 65 of the Tumbling Saber Podcast. My name is Kyle.
I'm Corey.
And I am not James.
Not James?
Not James, no.
Who the hell are you?
What have you done with James?
James is in Europe, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
No, all joking aside, it's Rob Cass from the TSW Roundtable.
Oh, wait, they told us we were getting Rob Wade.
No, Rob Wade is on. It's probably, what time is it? It's probably stupid o'clock in England right now.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here he is. He's from the Roman Pod and Cast. You know him, you love him. Also from the TSW Roundtable, it is Mr. Rob Cast. How you doing, sir?
Very good, thank you. Yeah, I was just I noticed listening to last week's episode and leading up to it, James was going to be away. And I messaged you on the Twitter machine, and I said, "Hey, if you need somebody for the third mic," and there we are.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Definitely. It was such a hell yeah. Let's do this.
Yes. Well, I'm not. I'm not as loquacious as James. I'm not as well spoken. But
we don't know what that word means. We're in Quebec. We don't know what that word means.
But you're on the right track.
I'm getting there. I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan. I've seen the movies, but no, that's about as far as it goes.
Well, you're a hockey fan, so as far as Canadians go, you're fine.
Oh, I'm not a Canadiens Habitants fan. No.
Just you're a fan of the sport.
Yes, I am Canadian. Yes, born and raised in Northern Ontario.
By federal law, you have that box checkmarked.
Yes,
hockey
exactly.
Fan. Yes.
When somebody asks my height, I mention it with skates.
There you go.
Yes.
So, and as everybody knows, you've got a newborn at home.
I do.
How's baby Charlie doing?
Baby Charlie, she is 2 months old today. So, again, I was warning you guys earlier before the show, if you hear any ambient noises in the background, we're not torturing children here. It's a newborn.
You're bringing them up. You're not torturing them, you're bringing them up.
That's right.
The torture happens, 10 years from now, from what I can tell?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I have a 13-year-old as well. So, yeah, she's got to the point where it's like, oh, Dad, stop! I'm the nerdiest. I'm just.
You're just the worst.
Yeah.
I
payback.
am exactly. And I told her, I said, now that Charlie's here, I said, my other daughter Kennedy, I said, well, you know what, Kennedy? I said, every time you tell me to stop, I'm going to throw $1,000 off your inheritance and add it to Charlie's.
Oh, shots fired!
Yeah, so that happened last weekend. Now she's down $10,000. I don't.
Wow.
Yeah. She doesn't seem to care. Anyway,
well, that'll bother her someday, but that's a future problem.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure she'll be taken out on me in the nursing home. It's like, whoa, what's that, Dad? Oh. Did you want to go to Shady Pines or?
You're stuck in the bathroom. You're ringing the bell in the bathroom. I can't hear you.
Exactly.
Gotta go. All right, Corey, how you doing over there?
I'm doing well, man. Doing very well.
How many beers in are you at this point?
I actually just opened my second.
No,
I gotta be on track this week. Like last week, I only had 2 beer total, and I listened to last week's episode, and I have to apologize. Like, I just couldn't find my words. I was sick. Like, I had a bit of a fever last week, and I listened to myself, and I was like, wow. Like, I remember feeling it too. Like, I was really not in the best of shape last week, but this week I'm good to go.
All right. Well, guys, not a whole lot of Star Wars news again. I think we're caught in that black hole where maybe Lucasfilm is sort of hanging on to their big news items for Celebration, which is coming up. But before we get to what news there is, we gotta knight somebody else here. The Knights have been coming out fast and furious at the Star Wars Commonwealth, And there's one guy in particular who's maybe as deserving as anybody to have been knighted, and it's sort of shameful that we've taken this long. So it is with distinct pleasure that we bestow upon this guy the title of Knight of the Commonwealth. Step up, come on down, Mr. Stu Baca.
Yay.
It's your turn.
Yes, sir.
To be knighted as part of the Commonwealth. It is long overdue. If you follow Stu Baca on Twitter at Tales of Geekdom, you know him to be one of the most positive people out there. Super friendly, super interactive, just a guy that you want to have in your corner. And we are very lucky and grateful to have this guy in our corner, always with heaps of praise for us in the show. So yeah, it's high time that we just give this guy the title of Knight of the Commonwealth. So welcome to the team. Not that you weren't a huge part of it already, but it is time to make it an official done deal. So well earned. Welcome, Stu Baca.
Agreed, man. I love this guy. Like, Kyle nailed it when he said this guy's like super, super positive, just big Ahsoka lover, big Iron Fist lover. He's a good guy, all around good guy. Like, really, again, positive guy. Like, positive contribution to Star Wars fandom.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is actually my first knighthood ceremony I've been a part of.
There haven't been many of them here at Tumbling Saber. It's a very select few.
Well, see, I'm in the enviable task. I get knights on my monthly show, the TSW Roundtable. So this is just more people for my show. This is fantastic. You just feeding them down the line here. Here we go. We're gonna that I guess what I'm getting at is an open invitation. Stu Baca, if you're interested in being on the TSW Roundtable, please. I know we follow each other on Twitter. Just send me a DM and we'll get you on.
Amazing. Yeah, if you guys have been listening to the TSW Roundtable, you know how great it is. What a great format you guys have come up with. And you guys get so much mileage out of 2 questions. It's amazing.
Yeah, that was, well, the point of the show was to have, because we have, like we're showing right now, like you guys are knighting people and you guys have so much listener interaction. It makes up so much of your programming. I'm like, wow, wouldn't it be great to have a show where they can actually pull up a mic and sit at the round table and actually talk with various hosts from around the network? You know, and also you get a lot of people too that have never podcasted before. I just wrapped up episode 3, and we had James Warren. He's a Knight of the Generation X-Wing podcast, and he messaged me after, and he's like, that was one of the greatest things I've ever done. And it's because he's always been, he might have been saying that in a little bit of a jest, but he's always been a fan of podcasts, and then now he's on one.
Yeah, and I know exactly that feeling. In another lifetime, I was doing sports blogging, and I got enough notoriety, I'm using air quotes here, that I got pulled into consistent, steady guest spots on local AM radio.
Okay.
And that was a huge thrill to be able to step into an actual real studio where people do broadcasting for a living and taking part in that on a consistent basis. And then, that eventually a couple years later came into podcasting for me. I was a huge consumer of podcasts, but, like I've said on the show before, those were always for other people to make and for me to listen to.
Right.
Until one day I was like, what? You know what? I can do a podcast. And of course, we're still a work in progress, but here we are, 65 episodes in. We can do a podcast.
Well, I think we all are, and I know when we started the Roman Podcast, the weekly show, my big thing was I turned on iTunes one day and I saw the graphic that I made, and I saw a show I was part of creating on iTunes, and it just kind of blew me away. I was taken back for a second. I was like, "What? Oh my God!" That's because there I was. It was Talk Star Wars and the Nerdist and Tumbling Saber and all these other. And then, there's the Roman Podcast. I'm like, what the? Like, it seemed very, very surreal. And I'm getting back to the Knights of the Commonwealth. It's so awesome for us. Like, Kyle, you were on episode 2, and we had a couple knights or a couple listeners, and it's so great for us to actually kind of have these people on and then see what their reactions are, and they can see all the behind the scenes stuff and all the little banter beforehand and afterwards. And
it's the peek behind the curtain stuff that is just so eye opening.
Yep.
What's cool, but I can totally relate to this as well. Like, having listened to the Tumbling Saber, being a fan before actually being a part of it, like I was fully supporting Kyle in the endeavor, and eventually he had me on. I think my first episode was episode 6 or 7. And then I did 10, and then just kind of got more and more. And then by episode 14 or 15, I was a part of the deal, and I was it was such a rush.
Mom yelled at me enough to let you in full time.
Yeah, and you didn't regret it. But
haven't yet.
Anyhow, but it's still fun. Like, it's so fun. But the first few times was really like a rush, and then having done the fireside chat with everyone and never having really spoken to them prior, like quite like yourself this evening, Rob. You and I had never spoken prior, aside from on Twitter or and whatnot. But there's something about it. Yeah, it's like it's a really cool vibe.
Well, that's the first time. Kyle, you were with me on the round table on episode 2, but prior to that, the fireside, I was on with James, and from your show. So it was kind of. You're hearing these people in your ear all the time, and all of a sudden you're talking to them, and then you're friends on Facebook, and then you're chatting on Twitter, and then it's like, oh my God, there's a whole new other world out there.
It's all connected.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, thank the maker for the internet, huh?
The maker. Yeah. So back to your point. Congratulations to Baka.
Yeah. Welcome aboard, sir. This was long overdue.
Yeah, big time.
Awesome.
Huge negligence on the host part.
Yeah, what a jerk.
Seriously.
So Corey, you have an addiction that you probably need treatment for. You've begun sharing it with the listeners here, but it's time for a weekly update. How is your toy collecting going?
Actually, I kind of had big plans for this week, but life kind of caught up with me. But I did get some cool stuff. I got the Black Series Stormtrooper bucket. So cool.
Oh yeah, no, like the full size one.
Yeah, really nice. Like, even putting it on is really uncomfortable, but yeah, it's gonna go on a shelf one day and be part of some kind of helmet collection or whatnot. It's got to start somewhere, and it was there, and I couldn't help myself, really.
Does the wife know about it?
Yeah. I was playing around with it. My kid couldn't. He would just want it to wear it all the time. I haven't tried it yet, but it's also got the Stormtrooper voice. If you put the batteries in it, there, it's you can speak like a Stormtrooper, basically.
Well, also too, you have to warn your wife when you wear it going to bed tonight. You don't want her to freak out.
She flops the arm into his face and cracks her wrist instead of breaking his nose.
Yeah, I was on my. She came into the room one day, and I had it on my head while I was on my phone, and yeah, she was not impressed. I was just playing around on my phone wearing it, and she just looked at me like, "Yeah, no."
Corey's going to do some Instagram modeling. He's going to be like, instead of being the lady version, it's going to be Corey nude on Instagram with his Stormtrooper helmet on.
Yeah, you'll never know it's me unless you see my chopper tattoo.
We don't want to know where that is.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's not talk about that.
Here we go.
Yeah, but
instead
other than
we'll talk about the $5 deal. I did a little bit of dumpster diving at my local Walmart this weekend. I found a 4-pack of Black Series Titanium Series figures, toys. So it had Poe's Black X-Wing and Biggs' X-Wing, the Millennium Falcon, and a TIE Fighter. $5.
Dude, that's crazy. I paid full price for that. Not this Christmas, but the Christmas prior.
That was like a $30 4-pack.
Yeah, that's like the hard. Those are like the die-cast metal ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're nice.
No, they're really nice. Like $5. There was no way I was turning that down. And I had that same box in my hand about 2 weeks ago, and it was $10.
I remember you telling me that.
You know what? I'm not going to do it. I don't need these. But then for $5, they're practically giving it away. So it's mine.
I've got some other good stuff today. I got the Black Series Obi-Wan, and
is that the one like the 6-inch?
Yeah.
with the ridiculously good likeness of Alec Guinness.
Yeah, it's very well done.
Oh, it's such a nice figure. One of the
Very
nicest.
nice. Yeah, I haven't, I saw him, I've seen him in stores maybe 3 times, and this was the only one on the shelf, and I said, I don't care, I'm doing it. Then I also saw, I don't know if anyone knows this toy figure line called Reaction. They're really like not well done, but they're so good because like it's Marty McFly from Back to the Future, so I couldn't pass that up.
Is that
And it says
reactions
right
or reflections?
Reaction.
Reaction. Okay.
They're good, man. I bought the whole Firefly series. Well, I actually received it as a gift for Christmas, and last but not least, I think I bought a boat.
You think you bought a boat?
Yeah. Well, yeah. If everything goes through, which I'm pretty sure it will, like, yeah, we purchased a bateau, man.
Bateau.
I'm gonna be a captain.
Can you wait a minute? Can you give us a little more detail? You just said something which may or may not be very significant.
Yeah, it's gonna be the tumbling sailboat.
Sabe.
No, yeah, whatever. We went to we went to a place today and just worked. We looked at I mean, we couldn't pass it up, man. It was a good deal, and we're both pretty interested in it. So,
What is going on here? You bought a boat?
I think so, man. Yeah.
You think so? You think you bought a boat?
Well, whatever. I mean, like I said, if it goes through, then yeah, we're gonna go through with it, man. I mean,
A real boat? Like
a boat.
It's going to be named the basically, literally, cheers.
The Bodie McBoatface. That's what I already said. That's already a stipulation. Is that I get to name it, and top of the list right now for me is Shadowcaster. It's got to be somehow Star Wars related, hopefully.
You know, chop rolls with a Z.
No, it's got to be good. It's got to be like naughty boy, like spelt not like nautically, like boy, whatever stuff like that. Like I've been
that's
looking
so
at names,
Quebec of you.
No, I would never do that. But something.
Ay ay ay.
But it was I don't know, it was pretty cool, and it was pretty neat. The place we went to is in I don't know, say about 100 kilometers from where we are. It was the biggest marina in Canada. So
But
I mean,
wait,
this
what,
place
what kind of boat is this?
it's gonna be like I think it's like probably like a 19-foot, 180 horsepower.
Jeez.
Who's gonna drive this thing?
Nancy has her license. My wife has her license. I'm gonna get my license. And
oh my god!
basically, you talk to the people there, and it costs about $300, but they take you on the water for 2 days, and they teach you how to drive it and all that crap. But I mean, we've been on. You and I had been on boats up till about the age of what, 15, 16 years old. Me, anyhow.
Well, our whole lives, our dads had a boat, but
I mean, I used to go out with them a lot.
Do they know about this? Do our parents know about this?
No. No.
Oh, you're going to tell Mom?
Oh my god! So how long until they do know?
In due time.
That's very.
Maybe next weekend we'll spring it up.
What's the appropriate K2SO line here? I find that answer vague and unconvincing.
We'll see. How about next weekend? This is actually kind of really cool. Kyle and our sons share the exact same birthday, same day, 2 years apart.
Oh wow!
So we'll do something for that, and here. You did what? Oh my god!
Oh, that's not going to end well. Oh boy.
Yeah. I'll see
Well,
you on
there
the
you
water.
go. You just got to plan an exit strategy next week, then, Kyle. Because if it's going to go south, you got to,
Mm-hmm. Well, it's going to be at my house, so I have nowhere to go. I have no escape.
Oh. How's your insurance? You just burn your house down. Oh my god, fire! Everybody out!
I'm just going to put a lighter to the smoke alarm. Run for your lives.
Yeah, Kyle.
Let's do this then. Let's
Everybody in the
open
boat.
this up to the Twitter machine and have people send in suggestions to name Corey's boat.
I like that.
There you go.
I like
there
the
you go.
basically literally.
Basically,
Cheers with a
I'm
Z.
particularly
Cheers with a
interested
Z.
in Carlos's submissions.
Yes. How do you spell?
Oh man. Okay. We are here to talk Star Wars, I think. Okay. Let's get into the news here. After that unsettling tangent.
Yeah. unsettling. Come on, dude. We're gonna be killing it this on the tumbling sailboat. You and I, man.
There you go. You knighted somebody. You know, special
Wait,
guest.
I'm
co-host,
we're gonna mark this down.
You bought a
Rob
boat.
as a witness. It's not going to be. It won't be
Yes.
long before Corey's saying we should do a podcast from the boat.
I was just about to say that.
Oh, there you go. Jesus.
Yes, because not like recording is hard enough on dry land.
All those little swells are going to make things so much easier.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
the wind out on the water won't make it sound awful at all.
Nope.
No, we'll just go below decks, man.
Yeah, there's no below deck, but on a nice clear day.
The type of day where the shadowcaster is going to get roasted by the sun, where there's no shade.
There's a tarp. There's like a little sun thingy there.
Jesus. Let's all huddle under this little 3-foot square section of boat and podcast.
Hey, you're no different than where I am now, man. I got my own
God.
little area.
Yeah, but Kyle and James aren't beside you.
No. But I'd like to.
Well, Rob, listen, you've kind of witnessed history here. Corey bought a boat.
There we go. Congratulations.
It's gonna be fun, I hope.
What's that sound? Oh, it's the rocks on the bottom. Don't worry, just keep going. They'll pass.
Well, if you make it down the St. Lawrence and you get Lake Ontario there, just let me know. I'll drive down to the water. We'll meet up for a beverage.
Okay, moving right along. Rob, were you a fan of The Wire?
No.
Ooh, Corey, were you a fan of The Wire, or have you ever Rob? Did you not watch it, or you did watch it and you weren't a fan?
No, I just it's not something that's crossed my radar yet. Like I've heard of it, but it's just being an adult with family, it's just I have to pick and choose my viewing hours. So it's just something I haven't got to.
Corey?
No, sir. I've seen several episodes because I had a friend that was really trying to get me into it, but it didn't manage to land its hooks in me. I'm still curious because I've definitely heard good things, but I do not know Michael K. Williams.
All right, well, way to bury the lead and spoil the news. So, Making Star Wars has a report. I think the report actually stems from Variety, if I'm not mistaken, that Michael K. Williams from The Wire is set to join the cast of the Han Solo spin-off movie. And so I'll make it a clean sweep, guys. I have never seen an episode of The Wire, and that might earn us a bunch of flames. In my real life, I've been hated on. What do you mean? How could you have not seen The Wire? What is wrong with you? And Jesus Christ, it's on my list. Give me a break. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this show, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it's not a new show. It's been
it's quite old.
2002.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. When I had my first apartment, I remember it coming out. So
yeah, and I only got HBO in the last couple of years, so I was way late to that game. It just completely passed me by. But now I have access to it, so no doubt at some point I'll go back and watch it. But I don't know this Michael K. Williams. I recognize the actor's face. I've probably seen him in something.
Wasn't he in 12 Years a Slave?
Maybe. I haven't seen that either, though.
Oh, okay.
Like you said, Rob, I've got to really pick my battles now as far as what goes into my eyeballs. Yes,
again, adulting and jobs and kids,
I still want all of Star Wars fandom to get on Kyle's case about watching Firefly. That should be top of that list, right, Kyle?
No, that is so not even close to the middle of my list.
I know you didn't mean that. Just move on.
No, I totally mean that. Yes. Okay, so just off the top of my head, I got to finish Daredevil, Luke Cage. Iron Fist will be out by the time I'm done with that. And I've got a whole laundry list of movies that I need to see. And then I'm sure the Defenders will be coming around. And by that point, I want to be at least checking out The Wire. Dude. And on a weekly basis, I still follow S.H.I.E.L.D. and Gotham. I don't know why.
Exactly.
But I'm not gonna. I can't get out of them now. I'm too deep. I'm in too deep.
See,
now.
this is the
Well,
thing. When you commit to Firefly, you're committing to 14 episodes. The show didn't go any further. You got 14 episodes in a movie, bro. Like, you know you're gonna get you're gonna get the whole package.
But I've seen the movie. Isn't that the end of it?
No. Well, there's somewhat a bit of resolution, but it's very ambiguous at the same time. But the show is so good. Like, anyway,
Well, like
whatever.
I've told you
You're
before,
lost.
if I want to watch like a Han Solo-esque character, I'll just watch Han Solo.
It's not Han Solo. It's Mal.
Who?
But also too, I think and you know what? I'm just gonna step up here. Firefly, I started watching it, and then I just after a couple episodes, I just stopped. It just basically fell off for some reason, and I think got taken off Netflix. I can't exactly remember the reason why I stopped watching it, but I didn't hunt it to look. I didn't look for it aggressively after. It's like, oh my god, I got to finish this. But I think it's because of so much talk has been on to this, and I was so late to the table going, oh, what's this Firefly thing? And I was expecting this unbelievably amazing show, and it was a good show. But if I just kind of flipped through the channels and found it, I would have been like, oh my god, this is amazing. But because I had such high expectations, I was like, yeah, it's okay.
It's kind of fun, but I got other things to do.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's nothing against the show. I'm sure in a different light, it's great. It's just one of those.
It could have went places, man. I hate Fox for that.
If I would have tuned in like from episode 1, I would have been like, okay, I'm on board. If I was watching it week to week, but it just, it's because I had so much hype before. It's like, okay, it's didn't quite reach the hype with me. But then I was very late too. I didn't.
Yeah. And but by all rights, should be a show I want to jump all over because I love Nathan Fillion. I love Alan Tudyk. Summer Glau is amazing. There's nothing to not like, but I feel like I just don't need that in my life.
You missed the boat, man.
Yeah, like frankly, the Wire is higher on my list than Firefly, and that's a long haul.
Well, it is now. Yeah.
Don't worry, Corey. I'll get to it before I die.
I hope so.
Well, just bring it on the boat.
Yeah, we'll bring the laptop on the boat. We'll plug it into the little cigarette lighter, which I'm sure is going to be there, and we'll drain the boat battery, and we'll have to row back to shore, all while watching Firefly. It'll all be worth it.
Sounds good.
That'd be fun. I'm the captain. I don't have to row, so
You have to navigate.
Yeah, that could be a problem.
Corey's 10 beers in and trying to navigate home in the dark on the water in a boat that he has no idea what he's doing with.
Yeah.
Okay, moving along. So, you guys know Rob, you're going to Celebration. You must be looking forward to that like crazy.
It's kind of not even real yet. And again, it's just one of those things. Mark was chatting about it and he's like, "Hey, you going? Like, you're close to the States." I'm like, "Well, yeah, but
not really."
People don't. Yeah, exactly. That's the same thing as like I live half hour, 40 minutes away from Toronto, and it's like, well, you must see the Tumbling Saber guys. I'm like, no, they're in Montreal. It's Canada's very, very
like,
large.
you guys must be neighbors. I get that a lot too.
Exactly.
But yeah, put it this way: it took me there and back yesterday. 12 hours drive. There and back.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, like it's if you're gonna go, if I was gonna go to like say it's like, oh, I'm gonna go join the Tumbling Saber guys and we're gonna watch episode 8. Well, that'd be great. It would be an overnight thing. It's not like I can just pop over and go home and go to work. No, it doesn't work that way. Anyway, but he was saying, yeah, it's in Orlando. I'm like, well, and I was sitting around, I guess during dinner talking to the wife. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing that round table thing, and I'm all the Star Wars stuff and Celebration in Orlando. She's like, what? Well, why don't you go,
dude?
Like, you know what? That's a great point. Yeah, I know. Again, my wife is awesome,
no doubt.
And I'm like, well, we just had a baby. She goes, yeah, well, it's only for a long weekend, and it'd be a nice break for you. You should go, just fly down. And
wow, that is really, really,
okay.
really nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's just one of those things, and it was kind of fell together, and it was like, oh yeah, sure.
Because that's
my
the thing.
arm,
Like,
I guess I would hate to leave you for 3 days, but I'll do it for the team.
No, but it. Even as a father, Kyle, it is hard. Like say for them to even just say like, yeah, no, go. You need the time. Like, it's almost like, is this a trap? Like,
Am I on
No,
camera?
no. Yes. No, no. Again, my wife she's amazing, and where I think also too, it's like we married late, so you see a lot. I see a lot of young couples. I got siblings that are much younger than I am, and I saw them going through the jealousy stuff in their early 20s, and I remember being like that, and it's just no, we're happily married. I can fly to Orlando, and it's no problem. I can, and she can go anywhere herself. It's so awesome to be at that point, and it just wow, hell, way lucky for me. I'm sure the next celebration, if it's in Europe, she's gonna want to come. So it'll be a little bit more pricey, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But yeah, I'm going to Celebration, and what were you wanting to bring up, Kyle?
Well, so they've been teasing this 40th anniversary panel. I think that, if I'm not mistaken, maybe it's on the Friday. Kathleen Kennedy's going to be there, and of course all these big shots are going to be there to celebrate the 40th anniversary of A New Hope. And they've been teasing a special surprise. So fandom being the zealots that we are, well, they're going to announce the re-release of the unedited original cuts of the original Star Wars movies. And so that was a big thing that, they're going to do it. And then if you really want the straight goods on that, check out Full of Sith. Bobby Roberts did a episode recently of Rumor Control. Just a half hour of straight truth, and it's amazing. So, in short, we may not ever see those unedited or the original cuts of the original trilogy, but that's where fandom naturally went with this special surprise. But I got to wondering, instead of going down that road, I thought, well, maybe the special surprise for that panel is going to be reintegrating George Lucas sort of into the fandom, because we all know that he had kind of an acrimonious split from the company he founded in the lead up to The Force Awakens. So I wonder, Corey, is this the natural time? Is this the right time to bring George Lucas back? Has it been a healthy break for him?
hell yeah. It's been a couple of years. I've said it many times on the show. I think he possibly was jaded by them not having gone with the story that he had written and taking his baby in a different direction. And again, I'll say it again. One day, please, George, if you're listening, I want to see your original vision somehow. Let it be in comic book, anything. Like, I want to know what it was, what he had in line for us, in store for us. I love the guy. Like,
you mean the script for the sequels that he had originally planned?
Yeah, I'd like to see where that story would have led.
Oh, I don't think it's his choice. I don't think that's his choice whether or not to release that. I think Lucasfilm, Disney bought all that, and it's theirs, and he has no say over whether that ever sees the light of day.
Well, I hope, like, Dark Horse did this before they lost the franchise, but they unleashed this bit that was the original script of Star Wars, and not it was the Star Wars, you know.
Well, Rob is big into Star Wars comics. Were you into that, Rob?
No, not the Dark Horse. Sorry, not so much. No, I jumped on the recent. I had them long time ago when they were originally Marvel, and then now that they're back again, I've every comic Marvel has released since the Disney purchase, I've bought and read.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
Well, no, that's just a completionist problem I have. That's why I don't collect Funko Pops or Dark Series, because I would be broke. Like
I struggle with that. Yeah, there's a few miniseries that I have not read, and the completionist in me is raging at me.
Yeah, I'm missing Afra and Vader Down. That's pretty much it right now.
Oh, Vader Down
that was cool.
I'm not. I can't even. I'll burn another tangent here. I can't. It is cool.
No, but either way, I want to see Lucas back involved in the franchise. I hope, like you said, he's over it. They offered him possibly something to work on, maybe a project called Star Wars Rivals. But his involvement in the Clone Wars, like watching all the special features on the Clone Wars recently, it's so cool. Like, he's so hands-on. He's there in the story groups, you know, in the think tanks. Like, yeah, man.
I mean, it was still all his thing.
Yeah, it's his daddy. It's his baby.
But Rob, do you
Yeah.
think that if you bring Lucas back in some capacity, and this is just purely hypothetical, us spitballing, because I don't think it's going to happen, but if you bring him back on a project, doesn't it just become, let's all just bow to George and let him do what he wants?
Yeah, pretty much. I think maybe creative consultant
Exactly,
credit. Like,
yeah.
has he had those? Like, you can't give him, because you bought this. You paid $4 billion to put out these movies. I mean, and they're making their money back. But it's the whole point thing is we've just gotten adjusted to the fact that, okay, this is not in George Lucas's hands anymore. And everybody was so panicked. Like, Disney, what are you doing? And remember all the memes is like, oh, they canceled Clone Wars and they wanted a clean slate. And, oh, they turning all the books I was reading. Now that's all Legends. And remember all the memes of like, oh, this deal's getting worse and worse. Those Lando things going around after Disney bought. And we had this huge thing. Now everybody's over it. We got all these great new comics. We got all these great new books.
All these great new toys.
And yeah, exactly. My Legends, my Thrawn trilogy is still on the shelf behind me. It's a little, there's a little mouse didn't run in my office and steal them and burn them on my front lawn. Like, that didn't happen. I think they're still here. I understand about wanting everything we can. And again, that the completionist in me loves everything fitting together. So now if we have a clean slate, it's great. But I think we're to the point now after Episode 7 and Rogue One, we're happy as fans. Everybody's okay. We didn't like seeing the Clone Wars going, but we got Rebels, and we're kind of getting into that, and we have all this new material, and now it'd be like it would almost feel like a step back. Like, it's like, oh, now we got to go through this. It's like having that ex-girlfriend, and then she comes over for a booty call, and it's like, oh, why did I do that?
No.
Oh, now I'm having mixed feelings again, and I was totally over
pregnant.
that. Like,
Oh, man.
That's
no.
the bad one. But I like what you said at the beginning,
So
Rob. Like, as a creative consultant, not a director or
Yeah.
like just someone there to be like, what do you think of this? Like someone to bounce the ideas off, and even him have his input of somewhat like, hey guys, yeah,
of course. Like, why wouldn't you? It's his thing, and we so many fans got mad when he just took his ball and made the prequels. I love him, but everybody's like, oh well, it's like, yeah, but it's his thing. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
we're
going to definitely get into that in a few minutes. But you're right. It was totally his thing. Totally his thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's the same thing. It's like anything else. Like with your show, if you decided to take this show in a completely different direction, well, guess what? Tumbling Saber is yours. You mean this is what you guys do. So if somebody came in and bought Tumbling Saber, it's like, wow, we really need Kyle's input, and then everybody's missing the show. You know what I mean? It's obviously on a type. This is entirely different scale, but you understand the point I'm making. This is your creation.
Yeah, Kyle's a complete dictator. It's crazy.
But I couldn't imagine, like, even the Roman podcast. I couldn't imagine having a third person tell Roman and I what to do weekly. It's like, no, that's our. I mean, that's our thing, and then have us sell it, and then have somebody tell us how to run it. Be like, whoa, no, like I would want to divorce myself from it. It's like, yeah, I'll be a fan. I'll always like the show, but I don't. You can't have complete control over something and then be given a little tiny bit.
Yeah, no, for sure. So in terms of celebrating the 40th anniversary of A New Hope, I mean, let's face it, you can't do this without George Lucas. You got to have him involved at least in a panel for him to run out there on stage, wave to the fans, let the fans give him a 5-minute standing O, and
of course,
let him talk a little bit, make a few jokes. Fans can ask him a few questions, and that can be that. But yeah, you can't do a 40th anniversary of A New Hope without George Lucas.
Oh, of course, it's his. Everybody knows it. Like, it's his thing. Like, it's.
And I mean, not to take it to a dark place, but I mean, how old is he? 74, 75 years old? Something in that zone. Who says he's going to be around for the 50th? You know. So,
for sure.
If you want the fans to have a chance to show their appreciation in person in Orlando, this is the perfect time to do it. And it's also maybe a year plus after the quote unquote breakup. maybe it's a nice time to start working him back in, at least to be interactive with the people that adore him. I don't know about getting him involved with projects because I think that's a slippery slope. Again, there's probably some way to make that work. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to figure that out. But you got to have him around in some capacity, especially now for the 40th.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, as far as that's like anything else. That's like Trek. Like, do you want to see William Shatner play Captain Kirk again? No. Did you want to see him last year on the 50th anniversary tour?
Yeah.
Of course. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a different thing. It's just he's part of the celebration, but he's not part of what's coming up.
Yeah, and I guess if he can make that distinction, I'm sure he can. He's a grown man. He's been through a lot of things, but this is so deeply embedded in him that maybe he's the one that has trouble being like he can't stand being at arm's length. It's either all or nothing. So maybe this is a struggle for him.
Yeah. Yeah, and also too, as fans, we forget. It's like we just want the next movie, we want the next book, we want the next, and he had his finger in every pie with Star Wars, and it was like, and again, what like you said, he was 74 years
Something
old
like
now,
that.
or even when he sold, he was over 70. It's like there comes a time when it's like it was just this thing he's done. You know what I mean? Like it's
But
just
he's patient though, man. Like, he never ever flooded. Aside from toy lines and whatnot, the market was never like like it was like I did my 3 movies, I did another 3 movies like 20 years apart. Like, it's crazy. No one's ever done that. And then I'll wait another 15 or 10, 15 years to sell the franchise. Like,
but eventually you want to put it to bed. It's like even the mom and pop that own the grocery store down the road. When they retire, they want to walk away. They don't want to. Oh, you can't close. We need you. It's like, well, yeah, but I'm 70. I'm close. Like, it's
a passing of the torch.
Did you hear George R.R. Martin about the Game of Thrones? He's writing and now the TV series is caught up with the books.
They're waiting on him, sort of,
and
right?
Like, you got to keep writing. You got to keep writing. And they're like, and the creator's like, well, all the fans are, well, what if you die? What are we gonna do? And he's like, well, forget you. Like, it's too bad.
This is my story. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, that's me dying. Your feelings about losing your book or TV show is not forefront of my mind. Like, I'll be gone. Like,
yeah, no, haven't they gone off now? And they have no choice. They have to keep making the show and taking it where they don't know what he would have done.
Yeah. Well, back to your point, Kyle. I think 40th anniversary. I'll be there, and I'm looking for. Hey, if I see him walk on stage, I'll be. Oh my God, I'm sharing air with George Lucas. This is fantastic. But again, I can't see him. Creative consultant, sure, but no, I can't see him having to report to Disney saying, is this movie good enough now, or is this?
Oh yeah.
Is this animation good enough, or is this You saw anybody that's watched all the DVD or Blu-ray extras, you see him going through picking out different artist renderings of different character he wants to use in the movies, and he's very fickle, and he has every choice is his, and to have final say not be his anymore, no.
Yeah, can you imagine being on either side of that argument, whether be in George's shoes or the person that has to reject it? So George Lucas submits his portion of the project or whatnot. Here you go. I'm George Lucas. Here you go, Mr. Lucasfilm. Here is my part of the project. George, we've looked at this and it needs work.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having to either deliver that news or receive it? Oh God. So yeah, no.
No.
The boat has sailed. I think it can't be more than just some sort of courtesy. George, what do you think? And you slap creative consultant on it. But I think. I think he kind of had. I think things have been smoothed over a bit because he was, as we know, he was not happy with The Force Awakens, but he seemed to really enjoy what was done with Rogue One, creatively and narratively. So maybe he's a little more encouraged by what he's seeing now.
Yeah, the possibilities.
Maybe. Well, yeah.
All right.
But just touching back quickly before we move on, the celebration and the Commonwealth presence there, like, I'm so happy and jealous But no, I'm super happy and stoked for you guys, and I'm really proud of you all as well for taking the initiatives you are. But definitely, Rob, now that we're talking, I'm going to be sending you some. I'm going to e-transfer you some credits, and we're definitely. Even if it's a surprise, I don't care. Like, I'm going to send you some money. Like, take it upon yourself to get what you will. But yeah, there's definitely some cool stuff coming out there.
It's funny you mention it because there's the new Troy from the Nerd Room was already making mention on Twitter. He's
I saw.
There's a limited Luke X-Wing Pilot 6-inch Dark Series.
Yeah, the Black Series 6-inch, like so
Black
good.
Series, that's it. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I have vintage toys, but I'm a completionist. I love everything I see on the shelves, but if I buy one,
it's over. You're gonna buy them all.
Finished. Yeah, exactly. So I consciously stay away from them because I know they'll end up in a box. I'll enjoy them 30 years from now, but not in the moment.
Well, I got a quick question for you about that. I listened to you the other day on Talk Star Wars, and you were saying that you went into buying the original the original series toys. So were you talking about the original, just the first 12, or the whole everyone from a new?
Well, I've only got the first 12.
That's cool. Whatever. But my question about that was,
but unfortunately,
how much did it cost you?
A
really,
lot. Well, I bought them individually, and I made sure to have. Well, some of them I found at. If you go to a con like Comic Con or anything like that, if you see vendors have them, and you have a weekend pass, go there Sunday around 3-8 in the afternoon. Then you buy everything on their table, or you mainly it's especially with old toys or vintage toys. It's used. It's out of the box. It's not like a new stock they can just box up and throw it on the next one. They don't want to go home with it, and you're going to get a better deal on it. And I made sure to, of course, being, again, the completionist, I had to make sure none of the weapons were repoed. Like, none of them were, like, they all have to pass the test, and the lightsabers had to have their little tips on them.
These are loose, or these boxed?
They're loose, yeah. Yeah, oh no, I wouldn't. They're
so what, maybe, like,
boxed,
are you talking about, like,
are
you talking about, like, 2 to, like, 500, or, like, 500 to 1,000?
Well, it depends who you're buying. I left Farm Boy Luke till the end, and he cost me probably about $90 Canadian.
Okay.
But he's not. He's loose, but his weapon is not repo, and it has. I don't know if you remember that little plastic tip on the end of the lightsabers from the 1970s.
Yeah, to push them up.
Well, yeah, they had they pushed them in and out, but once they were extended, if you look online, you see them, they're extended, and they got a little extra tinier, skinnier bit at the end. Like from the factory. And all my Obi-Wan, my Vader, and my Luke, they all have them. So, and it was one of those, if you want the actual toy, loose, but it has, with the non-repo weapon, it has to have.
Okay, so that's how you know, yeah, it's like the factory cut was like that.
Kind of, yeah. It was just kind of. I think it was made to show like when you ignite the saber, so it comes out small and it gets a little bigger as it gets longer. If that's not too after your sister service. But yeah, no, I went ahead and like Farm Boy Luke, obviously completed, is going to cost more than. C-3PO, because he's always pretty in good condition. It's hard to scuff him up, and he doesn't have any weapons.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, it was one of those, and I have Yoda, but Yoda's got his little jacket, and he's got his little belt, and his snake, and his little cane. Ugh. So he's good, but unfortunately he's from Empire, so he's the only one from Empire I got. I'm like, oh,
you got to do it, Rob. You got to do it.
Well, I pulled that string, and it's like, oh, why?
What have I done?
Like, yeah, exactly.
You should do it. Just take your time. Like I haven't. Like I'm so overwhelmed as well right now. It's like I want this, I want that, I want this, and I'm just I'm just kind of going at my own pace and just be like, I'm gonna grab stuff when I see it if it's not like everywhere already. And yeah, like the other day I was telling Kyle and James, I was at a Toys R Us near my work. There was 32. I had to count them because it was the only 6-inch black figure, and it was all Jyn Erso, and there were 32 of them. I couldn't believe it. There was nothing else.
Oh, wow.
It was sad.
Well, that probably
that's just
tracks
it.
back to the complaints about there not being enough stock of Rey, and so everybody they
Yeah.
thought, okay, well, geez, we didn't, we figured that nobody likes the girl toy, so we didn't make many of them, and then they fixed that error, and then they just tried to head that off at the pass this time with Rogue One by mass producing Jyn, and now Jyn Erso's a peg warmer now.
Yeah, but that's like I think with the toys for me it's all about the nostalgia. Like I'm sure because you guys are a little bit younger than I am, I'm sure the prequels have that more when you see something you played with when you were younger, and you have the actual look at this and there's a lightsaber and there's this and you remember everything about it. It's just
sure.
really really cool. Yeah. And I just don't get that from a new unboxed toy and thankfully, like I don't. Oh my god, I don't need to start pulling that string. But anyway, back to the point. What was it? Yeah, Troy from the Nerd Room was asking if I was going to pick up that Luke pilot X-wing, which if I can, it'd be great because I'm not gonna.
You're not gonna keep it.
I have
definitely one per
exactly.
person. Like Mark had mentioned that from.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but if I'm waiting in line or because we're there like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so if I'm sure I'll see everything, and if I'm there and Mark's waiting in line in the queue, I'll hang out with him and pick it up. Like it's not now if it's an 8-hour thing. Well, no, like I'm sure I can find better things to do in Orlando than wait in line for 8 hours for something I'm not going to keep. But.
Yep. Hey, there's one restaurant I can point you to. It's a good place to eat. I can point you there after the show.
Okay, yeah. Let me know, and maybe Mark and I will check it out.
Okay. I think we kicked that around enough. I believe.
Oh yeah.
All right. So, Making Star Wars has a report, a little scoop about The Last Jedi, and it's all about the state of the galaxy in The Last Jedi as we pick things up after The Force Awakens. And I guess things are as you would imagine. Losing the Starkiller base really hurt the First Order, but losing the Hostian Prime system really hurt the Republic, as in chaos has taken over the galaxy. So, did Corey, you read Bloodline? You finished that? Do you read the novels, Rob?
I haven't got. Well, what did I read? Shoot, the Vader and Palpatine one,
Lords of the Sith.
It was one of the first ones that came. That's the one. I read that one, and I'm in a little bit into Ahsoka. But other than that, I'm totally caught up on the comics. But that's the only thing of the new.
Well, in Bloodline, one of the storylines is that nobody was really taking the threat of the First Order. This new militia that was gathering its forces. Everybody in the Senate was too divided along their own selfish lines, and
Except for Leia,
who's like, guys, we got to pay attention to those kooks out there. They're gonna come for us. Whatever. And finally, in The Force Awakens, they annihilate the Senate. So everybody now knows that Snoke and his army, they're maniacs. They're homicidal maniacs bent on war, looking to take over. So now we know war has returned to the galaxy, and the Republic is in complete shambles. Which means everybody with no government and no army, everybody's kind of got to pick a side. Are you going to side with these First Orders and First Order people and get in line and let them take over and just nod and accept takeover, or are you going to resist? And I guess that would also mean Leia suddenly has more support. So, what do you guys? I mean, this is I guess nothing really shocking. Things are kind of what you would expect. But Corey, you want to expand on any of this? Anything you want to add to it?
Well, firstly, I don't have my old show notes. Like I emailed them to myself prior to leaving my last job, but
that's clever.
Yeah, I did a few things like that were clever. But anyhow, we probably about 5-6 months ago we wrote down some crawls for episode 8, and I know for a fact that mine. I remember.
Is that episode 39? Anyway, continue.
You'd know. Anyhow, just basically, yeah. Just I remember in my crawl, the first thing was like the galaxies in chaos or something like that. Because of course that like knowing what we know now, like galactic war is like hell. Like the war could be on your doorstep in an instant, kind of. So star systems are like freaking out. Like a whole entire solar system or a whole star system was wiped out by Star Killer, right? So it's like, and now the head of the government is gone. Like no one's left to govern. Everything's crazy right now for sure. Like it's chaos. The darkness looms.
Yeah, so episode 35 is when we did our brand of crawls. And yeah, we all kind of started off the same way, that the galaxy is in total disarray, which is again, what you would expect.
Turmoil.
But it is kind of fascinating, though. I do like this idea of nobody being in charge and whatever's left of the Republic scrambling to try and face down this threat. Rob, any of this jump out at you?
Yeah, I think it might resemble a little bit of the animated series, The Clone Wars. It seemed like, remember when there was any loose or stray worlds out there, or different planets, or different races? It's like, hey,
the neutral
come,
planets.
Come, join a separatist, or or no, join
the Republic.
Stay with the Republic, and like don't go anywhere. I can't see it being too much like that, but it might be similar. And again, Star Wars has done nothing but shadow prior story threads and lines and themes.
Yeah,
it might have something like that.
Yeah, they could, and I'm sure that recently the Pablo Hidalgo wrote a book called Propaganda, where that outlines sort of the social, the geopolitical stuff through propaganda art in the galaxy. And yeah, nothing was ever as hunky-dory as maybe we'd want to think. So I think the split is going to be really interesting to see. Like there are going to be systems that are like, yeah, cool, I'm down with this First Order. That Republic was garbage anyway.
They want the structure.
There was a political divide between the populace and the centrists, if I'm not mistaken. And the populace were kind of the people that are loyal to govern their own planets, and the centrists were old imperial holdouts, so the people that you would probably not want to be friends with. And it'll be interesting to see the galaxy kind of redraw old battle lines again.
Is it too much to cram into a movie? Like I said, it was like, yeah, they covered it in the Clone Wars and it was amazing because we had 6 seasons of that's what it was. But to cram into a 2.5 hour movie with everything else going on,
I think this is all kind of background info that you just kind of pick up here and there from a line here, a line there,
right?
I think at one point they're going to be in the war room, like this star system's with us, this one. We don't know, like, well, for sure it's going to be
maybe you're right, but don't forget, there's tens of thousands of systems out there.
They might have like a kind of like a midway island in the Pacific, like from World War II. They might concentrate on one,
a key system because it's a prime hyperspace line system. So we got to capture that.
And then as the viewer in the movie, that'll be emblematic of most systems out there. But here it says, just to push the story along, this is what we have to do. We have to convince these guys to be on our side, to beat those guys, and blah, 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 and just have it carry on.
Yeah, and I especially like how this is pushing Leia's story along. Bloodline did such a good job of reestablishing her and her place in the galaxy and her tumble from grace, through no real fault of her own. This really sets her up for an interesting thing, which makes the whole idea of rewriting her part and all this and that. We've beaten that around. We won't go there again now. I'm really excited to see how they handle this, especially in light of the whole Carrie Fisher thing. How this plays out is going to be really fascinating. And Jason Ward over at Making Star Wars, and you really should go check out this report that he posted. At the end, he had a footnote about Poe Dameron and Laura Dern's character, and how there seems to be friction between the two over how the Resistance ought to be run. I guess in light of this power vacuum in the galaxy. And I think what's left unsaid is if it's in the context of how the Resistance is being run in Leia's absence, is that what's going on here? Like, remember there was a report way back that Leia uses the Force in The Last Jedi, and it's to save her life and the life of the crew of the ship she's on. And beyond that, Poe takes over, but Laura Dern's character is sticking her nose in it. I wonder, that seems to be the place where a lot of the internal structure of the Resistance will either pull together or fall apart. But it's got an awful lot to do with Leia, and now with what's happened, is that sort of the axis upon which they can rewrite the story if they have to. I don't know, but really interesting stuff. I do like this stuff. Like, a lot of people hated the politics and the quote unquote boring stuff from the prequels. I kind of got a kick out of it, and as I get older, I kind of like it more.
It just depends. Like a lot of those Senate scenes are like, some of them are kind of cool. It gives you it's establishing something, but some of them are like, come on, man. Like, now you're just throwing ET in there. Like, is this a joke?
Wow, the ET thing was cute. Come on, man.
Of course, I loved it. Of course, I had to find it. It took me forever. I remember you and I and it was like fast forward, rewind. Like, there it is. Pause.
All right. So yeah, again, check out Making Star Wars if you want to get that full report. It's pretty juicy, and it sets things up nicely. But again, I don't think anything you'll see there is going to be like, oh, I can't believe this. So let's move ahead now. Usually for low news cycles, I try to keep a little cache of backup topics that I might want to talk about in case I need it. And now I guess is one of those times. But it's also funny because the Future of the Force posted kind of this very same topic. They had a blog post out this week, which was really well done. And I'll post a link to that in the show notes. And it's basically about The Last Jedi and beyond. And does it need to feel like classic Star Wars, or do we fans really want it to be different? And like it's almost a case of be careful what we wish for, because let's think back. To 1999, leading up to the Phantom Menace, this was the biggest thing for all of us. This was the biggest deal, and we all had this movie in our head, right? For 16 years between Jedi and the Phantom Menace, we all had this movie of what happened before in our head, and we're getting new Star Wars. This is amazing. And the movies came out, and we were like, well, that's not what I thought it would be. What is this? And that was sort of almost like a universal thing throughout fandom. So in the context of The Last Jedi, do we want this to be different? And if so, like how different are we willing to accept this? Rob, I'll kick it over to you first. Do you want sort of this to mirror Empire a little bit in the way that The Force Awakens mirrored A New Hope, or are you ready for something fresh?
No, I don't. I think the saga movies can stay the way they are. I don't have to have them beat for beat. Like, I don't need. Hey, if they make another movie that's just as good as Empire, well, fantastic. But I don't need. I think I don't need them to say, okay, it's going to end on a dark note. It's going to do this. It doesn't
Somebody's
have to
lose a hand.
do that for me. You got it. Yeah, it does. That doesn't have to happen. Like, I think if they're going to stray and try weird and new stuff, leave that for the standalones. And then if it works there, then you can drag them back into the saga movies. But everybody complained about The Force Awakens or like, it mirrored too much like New Hope. And yeah, they was like, yeah, it was, but they had to. After Phantom Menace, everybody was like, oh my God, new Star Wars. And can you imagine what George Lucas can do now with the technology they had in the late 90s? Everybody was like, oh, this is going to be unbelievable. And everybody's hopes were so high. And there was a lot of disappointment just because they didn't like the story. or the writing or
The acting.
whatever it was. Yeah, exactly. Like whatever it was, it rubbed people the wrong way. Now, with the prequel trilogy, what that did, now when Force Awakens rolls around, everybody was so excited to have we're finally going to get a continuation. We're going to see what happens past Return of the Jedi, except we were tempered by this, well, let's not get our hopes too high. You know what I mean? So with Force Awakens ran into a perfect storm where it was a great movie, and we weren't expecting the greatest movie of all time. So when we got a great movie, we're like, oh, that was relief, and that was fantastic. I think if they stay the course, they're doing fine. If you want to do something weird, now they got all these standalone movies. You want to go do a different vibe. If you want to do a Pulp Fiction type movie, that's fine. Like, do that with a Boba Fett. Like, don't risk the saga on something too different. I don't mind a different storyline, but don't change the style.
Yeah, it's a very fine line to walk, right? It has to feel like Star Wars, unquestionably.
Yep.
And again, there's so many Star Wars fans that people will love or hate, and everything in between, no matter what they do. So if they do a rehash of Empire, there will be a big slice of fandom that go, amazing, I love it. If they do that, there will be just as big a piece of the pie saying, I can't believe they got that lazy again. And then you'll have people in between. But yeah, especially with The Force Awakens, there was this fine line to walk in satisfying fans and reigniting their fandom, especially older fans like us who wanted their nostalgic nerves tickled. And we got that. But we also got some fresh content in the form of new characters and new lore. But yeah, with The Last Jedi, I'm having a hard time phrasing here, but the fans say they want something new, but from 99 to 05, when they got something new, there was a mini revolt, and that caused a lot of people to fall out of love with Star Wars. And again, some people will be happy no matter what.
Yeah, I think what the words you're looking for, Kyle, are kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
In a way, because like Corey, oftentimes you'll mention on the show that that episode of Rebels had the Star Wars magic, or this had Star Wars magic, and like that's a hard thing to do,
and it's a hard thing to pinpoint.
Well, it's like the iconic sound of the TIE Fighter. If they took that away, like what would we do? Like we didn't have R2-D2 in Force Awakens through almost all of it, and we were fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Oh, is it passing of the torch to the BB-8?
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, and I talked to Mark about this. I'm part of the projected age. I saw New Hope at the drive-in with my parents when it was out that summer, when it was just Star Wars. It wasn't New Hope. It wasn't Chapter 4. It wasn't anything. It was just Star Wars. So I got on. I was very, very young, but I got on that boat. And when I saw Han and Chewie on the trailer, and they walk on and like, oh, Chewie, we're home. I was like, oh my! I waited 30 years for that.
Of course,
so it was so awesome. But then at the same time, I'm like, hey, BB-8, that's awesome. And who's this Finn guy and Poe? And I like the humor and the back and forth and this bratty Kylo Ren. Like, I'm sold. Like, I'm good. I can have sprinkles of Leia, and I can have Luke hop on Rey's back and do the Yoda thing, and I'm okay with it. Like, it ushered in the new saga, and it all, like the new trilogy, and it also, for me, it's as the old guy watching it, if I'm completely entertained with the Finn and Poe Dameron scenes, then great. Like, I don't think they're going to stray too far on how it's filmed or how it's made. They really got back to the roots of, like, actually, like, it had that Star Wars original OT look to it.
Yep. And that's a big part of it.
So yeah, exactly. So it didn't look as digital as the prequels were, and they were. And it was a huge step. Like, we wouldn't have all these awesome Marvel movies if it wasn't for the prequels and what George Lucas did. So it's kind of nice. They had their place, but I think they're really it's the way it's filmed that's gonna keep us with the saga.
No.
It's not like it's where they're going with it. It's hey, it's their story, and everybody loves the new character, so let's go. Let's be entertained.
Yeah, no, I think TFA definitely pulled the wool over our eyes in this, for me anyhow. I get that it was kind of a rehash, and there's some things that played a little close, really walking that fine line, like Star Killer, for example, like stuff like that. Fine, I get it, but I find what this guy's saying is that this one even has more to live up to, almost in the sense that it's the follow-up. It's going to be comparable to The Empire Strikes Back, like arguably, most likely the greatest Star Wars film of all time at this point, or the favorite of the fans, I would say.
Oh, of course.
So, like, I think they're going to take from the formula, but movies have changed since the 70s as well. Like, they did a really good job walking that fine line of keeping the old, reinvigorating the old fans, and playing to the new market of, movies have changed. Like, again, like things, the faster, harder.
I don't think you can't pace movies now the way they were paced in the original trilogy. Like, people just lose their attention span.
But I do want to see someone lose their arm.
They're great. But try and get a kid to watch A New Hope now, and their eyes glaze over.
Well, we went over that with, I think, Carlos Candido brought that up on that TS on the round table that you were on, Kyle. Remember you saying, I want to see those remade. Remember he was mentioning something.
He did say something
like that,
to that
and
effect,
then
I believe.
Yeah, and I was trying to explain to him, it's like, no, when we saw, you mean the Star Destroyer roll over the top of the screen at the theater in 1977, that movie was just as awe-inspiring as Rogue One
Visually.
But like you said, look in hindsight, of course not. No, like you can't. It's 40 years ago.
I remember
like
the first time I saw that moment. It was on like a 24-inch TV in my aunt and uncle's basement, and that it still struck me. Like it sounds stupid to say, but that was a life-changing moment. Seeing that on screen, I was like, holy shit! What the hell was that? Boom, done, and here we are, 30-something years later, on a Star Wars podcast. One of hundreds.
Yeah, well, and that's it. Like I said, like Force Awakens, they got it. They filmed it. It was a lot more, had a similar look to the OT. Just keep going with it. And like, hey, we're along for the ride. Like I said, if they want to go weird and they want to try different type styles of movie or styles of direction, then yeah, save that for the standalones. Because that'd be cool. I'd love to see, Pulp Fiction, Boba Fett style.
Yeah, that's your sandbox to be experimental. But you've got a $2 billion formula.
No, the saga's the saga.
Well, exactly. Yeah, come on.
But yeah, I think again, like the guys at the Future of the Force, they do such good work. So Phil's article, like, it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. In my opinion, like they're gonna be able to please some people, not some. I think they should take from elements of Empire Strikes Back, not necessarily mirror things. Some things should be mirrored. Like, to me, I'd love to see the probe droids go out at the beginning, just like in Empire. You're searching for the rebellion or the resistance. You're searching for Luke and Rey.
Oh boy. Like right off the hop, you get people sort of on that, oh my god, here we go again.
And again, you guys said earlier, I want to see someone lose a limb. Someone's got to lose a limb.
I don't. Do they? Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because why does somebody have to lose a limb?
It's the Jedi way.
I want to see it.
I mean, I can't imagine someone won't lose a limb. Those lightsabers are really dangerous.
Well, that's just one of those mirroring things that people are going to probably shit on or...
Well, again, I mean, there's things that, like, part 2 of a 3-part story, classically, it takes the characters and puts them in a bad situation.
Yeah, it's the winter months.
Whatever you want to call it, sure. I mean, it just takes the characters and challenges them. And then part 3, of course, they have to overcome that challenge. So if they do that, which I suspect they will, that's not necessarily copying Empire. That's just copying storytelling. That's following through with normal storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's formula, of course.
But
Well, you're not going to wrap up. You're not going to wrap it up and like, oh yeah, we're all winners. I mean, the First Order, they're all gone, and Kylo Ren's turned, or whatever they're going to do with them. It's like, okay, great.
Well,
And roll the credits, and then like, okay, why are we going? To, what's
yeah, I
coming?
mean,
up next?
I don't think it's a big reach to say that by the end of Episode 8, that the First Order is in a much better spot than they are even now, and that Rey is in a very precarious situation, whether she's injured or perhaps leaning to the dark side. None of these things are
Limbless.
Like,
none of these things
I
are
think
stretches.
I think another mirror thing, and I think a lot of fans are expecting the "I am your father" moment in this movie. Either let it be who is Rey, who is Snoke, some kind of little tidbit that we're not thinking about yet. That everyone is expecting that sucker punch from this movie, I think, and I think that's going to be. It's going to be amazing if they are able to pull it off, because, I mean, fans are all over this movie speculating, and I still, to this day, think that they're going to pull it off.
Well, that's why you bring in a guy like Rian Johnson, right? He's a really bright young filmmaker. Like, if you wanted to do something that was just tired and predictable, I'm sure you could get Brett Ratner or
Oh, God.
or some other just straight up director who just calls the scenes as they're written down. But
Point and
yeah,
shoot.
exactly. But you bring in Rian Johnson, who's a bright mind in filmmaking these days. You're gonna get something out of left field, and it's not gonna be. At least this is my feeling. It's not gonna be what you're thinking. So for as much slicing and dicing as we do, and maybe somebody out there has already hit on it, I think we're gonna get sucker punched with something. And I imagine making Star Wars will probably unearth it, and I'll be careful not to see it because I want to be shocked.
Yeah, I want that. I want to live like that "I am your father" moment. I remember hearing it when I was a kid. Same as you with your kid, Kyle. Like, thinking right away as an innocent child, like, that's not true. Like, I want to hear something that's just like, oh, I want to look at you and be like, that's not possible, eh?
Yeah, we all kind of want that shock moment. But yeah, it's going to come out of left field, and we're all going to be like, "What? That's not what I pictured." And that's going to be that moment where, well, they didn't do the movie I wanted them to do, and it's really different. It doesn't feel like Star Wars. That twist is weird. So that's the line they have to walk now.
Yeah, well, they can't please everybody, but again, we're all going. Most of us are all going opening night, so it's not like if we sat down for The Last Jedi and then all of a sudden we see the probe droids being deployed at the beginning. It's not like we're gonna get up and walk out.
No. And to each their own, and everyone's got their own opinion, and there's going to be varying opinions. But in the long run, to me personally, I think I'm reaching the year mark on Twitter. Like, I'm still kind of a Twitter virgin in a way. Like, it's just been it's my first year. I want to write an article called Year One, but there's definitely some people that I think they just get off on complaining.
Well, there's some people they're not happy unless they're sad.
When you get the other people that are not happy if you don't like, it's like people can love everything and like, well, yeah, I don't really like that. What do you mean? How can you? It's like, I just
No, it's fine to not
your
like
hand.
something, but there's people who are just out there like they'll just complain just for the sake of complaining.
Oh, of course, yeah. No, that's not the point. I was getting at. Like, there's some people that just hold it so close to their heart. It's like, yeah, but if you're like,
You didn't.
well,
it's like,
I read this
yeah,
book.
I know what you mean. It's like
It's like Firefly.
I was going to say something we can all relate to. It's like when somebody, like, you can insult your high school, right? Like, this place is a dump and all the teachers sucked and what a crappy place. I can't believe I spent whatever it is, 5-6 years at high school. What a waste of my time. But if somebody else from another school says, yeah, your school sucked. Hey, don't you talk about my school that way.
For sure. That's like if somebody, like, I mean, we'll throw Quebec jokes around, and I'm sure you guys do the same thing with Ontario, but if somebody puts down Canada, it's like we're brothers in arms all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's another fair comparison.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so the last point I want to make on this is that definitely the originals. and now I guess a little bit more of the sequels. Now that the Phantom Menace is 18 years old, coming up on it, so that some of these movies are starting to get a little bit old. We expect that we're going to walk into a movie theater, whether it's The Force Awakens or Rogue One, and that we're going to walk out and be totally in love with what we've just seen, and it's going to just elevate right with these movies that we've grown up with. But I think that's unfair, because especially the originals, and now, like I said, the prequels, they've had time. We've got dozens, if not hundreds, of views in on these movies, and they've kind of worked their way into our DNA over a long time. So it's maybe not fair to these new movies, whether they're saga movies or standalones, to expect that they're just going to slot right in with these movies. And I love The Force Awakens right now as much as I love Empire. If you do, great. I'm not saying you're full of it, but
yeah,
you can't expect everybody to do that. It takes time.
Yeah, all the lists are fluid too. Mine's changed over time, and it still does today. I have such a hard time deciding what's what.
Well, also too, it's the different. We're watching these with different set of eyes. Like, obviously, we look back at the original trilogy and we have a nostalgia for it. It's because those feelings it invoked. Like, to separate it from Star Wars. I've said this before, if I look back to when I was in the movie theater in 1978 and I saw Superman fly across the screen in Richard Donner's Superman, watching it with the awe of as a 5-year-old, I can't get back at 43. I'm just watching it as a completely different. I'm a completely different demographic or spectator. I'm not watching it with that same. Everything's just so amazing.
Well, yeah,
it's a different person.
Cynicism is installed by what, like 10 years old?
Exactly. And if you're looking at visually as a visual spectacle, you can look at Man of Steel and say, well, that's a far superior movie because it was made 30 years later. Of course it was, but it's how we're watching these things. Right?
Time
it's the
is
same
a
thing
big
with
thing.
Star Wars.
Time and technology.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I said, when you see, you mean that Star Destroyer fly over the screen, and you're like, I'm not 4 years old anymore. Like, it's not gonna. I will be blown away by a different scene. Like when I watched Rogue One, it's like, oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's cool. It's like, but I wasn't just taken aback by anything. Of course I wasn't. I'm a grown man.
I have to say though, like even to this day, to me, like I'm gonna probably get flack for this, but the stop motion from Return of the Jedi, like when they had kind of perfected it, it's like at that point they had perfected that technology and they were kind of progressing into something else at that point. You know what I mean? Like they were starting to get more into computers by that point, but this was like a physical stop motion capture. And I look at Return of the Jedi even today and I love it. It just looks real.
Yeah, that's like when you see Empire. I was watching that the other day, and you see little Tauntaun bounce across the screen.
It's so bad,
and it's
so bad.
Exactly, and it pulls you out of the movie. But we're so forgiving now. Of course, you couldn't do that today. It'd be like, oh, come on.
You might walk out.
Yeah, it was total claymation.
We can do that with our iPhone. Yeah, exactly. But I understand what you're saying. It's we can't. You're looking at like, especially like I said, like I've followed these movies my entire life. Like how can you match? Like you're trying to appeal to the same person who watched it at 4 years old. Like and they're actually doing it. So
well, yeah, just to bring it all
like,
back around to where you started, Rob, at the beginning of this conversation. They're trying to please us nostalgic types,
yeah,
and roping in new people at the same time with the same formula, and that's exactly how you get sort of a quote unquote soft remake of A New Hope with The Force Awakens, and
of course, and well, that's where the prequels. That's why people have problems with the prequels. I enjoy them because I can take them for what they are, but they have a hard time watching all this political intrigue and Jar Jar in the same movie. You know what I mean, like, and for better or worse, Jar Jar's in there for a reason. Like, he was there for the kids, but the prequels, they're not kids' stories. They're not spaceship, blow up the big ball in the space and kiss the princess. It's not. It was all this political undergoings and like all this backroom stuff and all Palpatine trying to his rise to power, well, it's lost on a kid. And if you're loving that part of the movie, odds are you're not going to be like me so happy to see Jar Jar on the screen, because it's like, what's this doing? It's like almost like this fly on the screen while you're trying to while you're trying to enjoy this other movie, and vice versa. When you got a kid watching it, they're going to fall asleep during the Senate scenes. Like,
yeah, they don't know what's going on.
It,
what are you talking about? What?
Exactly.
What? Yeah, they don't care.
But the new movies like Force Awakens and Rogue One, they've been great. They've been doing a much better job. Like I said, I'm not going out on the internet and putting down the prequels. Oh, good Lord, no, I wouldn't.
Look out.
Yeah, exactly. No, I really do like the prequels, but they're getting it.
But
better
you notice
this
that
time
with
around.
these new movies, and I suspect it will continue with The Last Jedi, there's none of that element directly aimed at children. We haven't had the Ewok thing, the Jar Jar thing. That hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
The Force Awakens took itself pretty seriously, despite being very self-referential. Rogue One had absolutely none of it. And you shouldn't have kids watching that probably at all.
Well, the TFA, they handled it differently. They did it with BB-8. They did it with the little thumbs up later. They did it with Chewbacca. You mean, you're so brave while he's getting patched up at the Rebel base. Like they did it differently. They did have those funny moments and they did have those playful moments, but they didn't dress up a teddy bear to do it, or they didn't have this digital Jar Jar. There wasn't so much of a separate. It seemed more seamless. It seemed more.
No, this one was for the fans, not for kids. Like they had to sink their teeth into a whole new beast.
and that they did. All right, guys, let's get off the live action stuff here and dive into Rebels for a little bit. So we just got confirmation a couple days ago that Rebels Season 4 has been confirmed, and fandom breathes a sigh of relief. Good news, right? We're all happy about that.
Oh yeah, we've been talking about that for
absolutely.
a while. I can't. It was a given at this point.
Odd timing though for the release though of the news, just out of the blue on a Friday. Ooh, here you go.
Well, maybe they were shipping off something to the animators. Like maybe they're sending it to the second where they outsource this sort of stuff, where knew they were going to lose control, so they might as well.
That's what I'm thinking. I thought
because
maybe they discovered that news had leaked, and you'd rather not get scooped, so let's get the news out there. The announcement of it seemed rushed. Even like they had tweets deleted and everything like that. It didn't seem to flow smoothly as an announcement as big as that. And it was also a month
you were
from
like
celebration. You think they would save it for that, but to your point, Rob, I think they almost feel like we lost control, and we may as well just get it out there.
I remember Kyle saying, I had sent him the link, and he's like, "Yeah, I saw it." And he's like, "Someone's getting fired."
Yeah, companies don't tend to like to have their news spoiled on them like that. But anyway, more immediately, we have a new episode to digest called Secret Cargo, episode 17, season 3. So just 3 episodes left out of this, what's been a very good third season. So guys, what did you guys think of this episode? Corey, I'll let you run with the ball first.
I think it was a really good episode. Just musically, visually, the storyline was great. No, kind of sad in a way because no big spoilers here. I think due to the trailers and just fandom speculation, we knew what we were getting. We knew we were getting Mon Mothma. My big brother kind of said something about Dutch being in this, which again was kind of making the rounds as well. You called it before a lot of people.
That's not Dutch. Yeah, that was Dutch.
Yeah,
I'm not right often, but I got that one.
Definitely cool to see Mon Mothma back. First thing I noticed on the Ghost too, it looked like it had some I thought it had some kind of special modifications done to it, but it was cool to see it work in that capacity, like carrying stuff and those Y-wings attached to it at the end, the fuel pods, stuff like that. Seeing John Vander, Dutch, Gold Leader in it. Seeing space battles, like the way that finally, you know, like we've seen a few this season, but I've been banging on it for a while. I want to see more, and this kind of touched on it a bit. Love to see Ezra's piloting skills grow as well, learning from the best.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite episodes of season 3. Rob, what did you think?
I really liked it. I thought again there was no surprises with the secret cargo, Mon Mothma.
They tried.
I liked I love how they set up Dantooine.
Yes,
I don't know if you guys caught
right
that.
at the end. Finally, after so many years,
Yes.
right? This rebel base on Dantooine, we're finally going to see it, or so it appears.
Yeah, and again, most everything what Corey said too. I gotta ditto that. But the end of the final shot where you saw all the alliance coming together, it was very. It reminded me of Return of the Jedi. That battle scene when you saw a lot of familiar ships, it was great. Like it was just there was enough cookies in it, like you said, with Gold Leader and Dantooine and everything. Like there was enough that the adults watching this show were like, "Oh my god, this is awesome!" But it was still entertaining enough where you could sit around with your kid and they're just going to be as entertained with all the fight scenes and them doing the battle in the nebula.
It was one of those, the ending of this one, like you had said, like literal for me personally, goosebump moment. When you see those ships, like they're just waiting, and they start bang, 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 bang. They all start just showing up. It's so cool.
Well, yeah, that's an important point because this series is being given a lot of rope to explore some really, really crucial points on the Star Wars timeline. Like that's a big moment. This is Mon Mothma kicking off not just these rebel cells that we've come to know about, but this is the first point of the Rebel Alliance.
No, well, you want, to me personally, like watching this show, the more and more I watch this show, these people do not get the proper respect they deserve. Like the Ghost Crew, like this, they are the genesis of the rebellion. Everything that they've done to this point has led to this. Like, it's so cool to see them. They're like the connective tissue between all those splinter cells, if you will. Like
Hey, Rob, I guess we shouldn't tell Corey that Dave Filoni said that Saw Gerrera was the genesis of the rebellion.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, well, the proper rebellion, like the one we're seeing now with Mon Mothma as the leader, like Phoenix Squadron to me is the Mason Stone, if you will.
They were one of many, right? They're just the ones that we followed.
Yeah, I guess, but they're like, to me, it's like they're like the keystone to the project because they've done it all. Like, if not for them, the rebellion would not exist, personally. And even just seeing Sabine's symbol of the Phoenix Squadron is basically the symbol of the Alliance, in a way. Just modified.
Well, we've also had, like, so many, we had a lot of stuff with the Mandalorians, so it's like, oh, anybody that loved Legends, it's like, oh, we're finally getting that woven back in, and a lot of it was from the prequels tying in. I mean, where they're tying in all these threads, and now anybody who's loves the OT is finally seeing familiarity, like I said, the Dantooine, and that final shot was like. When all those ships arrived, it reminded me of when they all left for the final Death Star battle.
Yeah, 100%. And even Rogue One too, almost when they kind of arrive out of hyperspace. No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it's just starting to it's the connective tissue between the prequels and the OT. Like it's really filling in a lot of gaps, and we're like it's satisfying both ends of it, and it's not an easy task, especially when you're thinking, well, everybody knows how this is going to end. How can we make this intriguing to somebody watching?
You know what's pretty interesting?
You know
I saw Steven Stanton ask. He actually asked a question to Pablo Hidalgo, like not even 2-3 hours ago on Twitter, and I didn't even think of it, but I truly hope it's the case. and it might even play into something else now. Kyle had asked the question, who is that unexpected person that's going to help the rebellion in the last few episodes? Could be Sabine and the Mandalorians, Obi-Wan, Maul. I had said possibly maybe Hondo throws his hat in the ring with the space pirates lending their fleet to the battle. But now even we got Radis. Was Radis part of that fleet that showed up out of the sky, like being followed by his hammerheads? And Steven Stanton asked that question directly to Pablo Hidalgo. Like, yeah, I think that was Radis, wasn't it?
I gotta imagine that Stanton knows a thing or two.
But that'd be cool, man. Like, they know that fandom is eating this character up, so maybe he's the unexpected help that the rebellion gets too.
Maybe that would be amazing. Because I think from that, all the ships that arrived, I think there was only one Mon Cala cruiser. And I'm not sure if it was Home One or not.
Well, he put it out there.
No, it's totally valid. Having Radis or Akbar show up at this, in what's the finale name? 0 Hour?
Yeah.
Yeah, to have those guys show up there would be incredible. But even though this episode has taken things up, I guess a notch or 3 even.
We haven't mentioned the TIE Striker yet, no?
We'll get there. We'll get there. Lots to get to with this episode. I got a whole bunch of stuff here. But I do have a couple nits to pick. I'll start with with the guy I love to hate recently with Thrawn. And Rob, I don't know, you've been listening lately. He bores me a little bit that he just knows things. And
Yep.
How did he just know that Mon Mothma was the secret cargo?
Yeah, he's starting to, I think they're really trying to lay on that, they're painting that Thrawn brush. Like, if you read Heir to the Empire, like the first chapter 1, page 1, like I look at art and I can tell what a certain race people are like, or people are like, or a person or the artist. And they're really laying it on thick. It's just like, I could look at, this guy signed an autograph. I can tell the way he dots his eyes that he's a rebel.
He's a psychopath. He's vain and he's a psychopath.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's like, no, well, okay, we get it. It's been beaten into us. But again, that might be from us reading. Like, we knew this going into it.
Oh,
So maybe somebody new to Thrawn is kind of taking it with a grain of salt, going, okay, yeah, I get it. This is his character. We're just like, hey, yeah, we know, yeah.
And
this
exactly.
Is your
and
MO.
He knew where Hera was going to take Mon Mothma in order to evade the Empire. She's going to go through this.
Of course.
I was like, oh, come on.
It's not all that much of a reach, though. Like, this, out of all the stuff he's done, kind of not really a reach for me. Like, it doesn't make sense.
You're a Star Wars apologist. You'll say everything makes sense.
Yeah, but the Ghost Crew is like the all-star of the rebellion right now. Why is the Ghost Crew involved in a mission that there's a transport that's not transporting anything, and Mon Mothma just kind of defected from the Empire? Like, it makes complete sense, but again, it is a leap. The galaxy's a big place.
It wasn't supposed to be what it eventually was. It was supposed to be a routine refueling mission. That's all it was supposed to be.
You're right. That's true.
It wasn't supposed to be an escort to Mon Mothma. It was supposed to be just let's just fill up her tank.
Yeah, but they were fueling up her tank. Like, just having the Ghost Crew involved in that mission probably pointed them in that direction. Makes sense. Like, all these series of events are lining up. It's a reach again, but whatever. It makes sense.
And my final nitpick was, right off the hop, Ezra's incompetence on the nose gun. He's just come a little closer. Dude, just close your eyes, use the Force, and nudge it where you want it to be, and then nuke it. You could have easily just nudged that thing 3 feet to the left if that's what you wanted, without alerting his sensors or doing anything out of the ordinary. Put it right in your sights and blown it up.
Yeah, or use that Force thing you have. That's handy on occasion.
Yeah, exactly. Just use the Force and put that little tiny ship right where you want it, and then shoot it down. But you didn't do that. Ezra, that whole mess was on Ezra for his incompetence. I can tell Corey's seething over there. How dare you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking. I was just listening to you. I was like, what drivel? Like,
well, and again, it is we're watching an animated series on the Disney XD. Like, so it's, of course,
You gotta take
not,
leaps,
not
right?
once,
30 and
not
40-year-olds.
once have I ever seen in Star Wars a pilot like piloting in a ship and be like, "Okay, I'm gonna move this ship using the Force into my crosshairs." And
No, I know. I was talking about him using the Force to help him aim, much like Luke did with blowing up the first Death Star. You know what I mean? I wasn't talking about shifting the ship. The shifting the ship. I've got to be careful. You know what I mean? But just kind of like honing in his targeting skills with the Force. That's what I was getting at.
I hear you.
Yeah. Either way.
Maybe. Either way, it could have been handled a lot better. This episode, though, I know it's because it's on Disney, but it's like at the end when they're, "You can fly with me any day." It's like, what? You remember? Like, it's just like, yeah, you can fly with Gold Squadron. It's like, yeah, it's not necessary. We don't need the pat on the head.
Yeah, I actually thought that character bought the dust at one point. Like
She had a
first time,
pretty rough fall.
yeah, she had a rough fall, but no.
Yeah.
Afterward, I think there was another female pilot that ended up like she actually took a bullet for the Ghost. Like the Ghost was like, "Shields are down," and she's like, gets in the way of the shot for them, goes down in the
was
nebula.
rough. That was really rough.
Yeah.
I think all in all, though, considering we knew Mon Mothma was making it out, we knew the heroes were going to survive, so there was no real peril, but the show was still engaging. It was entertaining. It had tons of little Easter eggs in there from anybody that follows Star Wars as closely.
I'm curious
as
to
we
see
do.
why
Yeah,
Kanan wasn't there.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too. Yeah, it was just.
Well, they mentioned him in this episode,
Kanan's
didn't
out,
they?
maybe.
I can't remember now.
Yeah, they did mention Kanan and why he wasn't there. It's not gonna come back to me.
Maybe, I
But yeah, it was really good to see Genevieve O'Reilly back as Mon Mothma. I love that they keeping these things tight and continuous. I love getting those same actors back on the mic.
Yeah, contracts.
Yeah, contracts. How about Kevin Kiner's music in this episode?
Very good.
Through that nebula.
Very
His best work comes in star clusters and nebulas.
agreed. Because I remember at one point, like even like you're a big music. I'm a big music fan, but you're a music aficionado for Star Wars, I would say. But I remember at one point just being like it kind of actually hitting me in the face and being like, wow, like, okay, like I'm feeling the Star Wars music here. Like, and then I actually started paying closer attention to it. You know what I mean? Most of the time it's good enough to fly over my head, but this time it was so good that I was like, wow, like I gotta listen closer.
Yeah, it was standoutish. And Rob, like you mentioned, there was a bunch of little Easter eggy things in this one, and I particularly like the line from that it was the woman pilot when they first get on board the Rebel cruiser, and she says something to the effect that Phoenix Squadron is making things harder for the main rebellion, and that's something that very much echoes Rogue One, where they were talking about how Saw Gerrera's group was making it harder for the rebellion as a whole.
Yeah.
So I like that tie there. So here we are cheering on the Ghost crew, but sometimes they are making things more difficult than it needs to be.
Oh, of course, yeah. Like, well, what was that episode when Zeb just fetched that droid and brought him back to the Rebel base?
That was kind of stupid on his part.
It's like, exactly. It's like, I get
But
it.
it's
like,
also a matter of
it's
even in Catalyst, you kind of see it. Like you see Galen even saying like, we don't know what happened. Like the Jedi turned bad almost, you know, like even in this episode, you see that girl saying, you guys just destroyed that comm tower. Like we needed it. And they're like, well, no, we didn't exactly destroy that comm tower. Like we
But
did
Zeb was
something.
happy to take credit for something else, right? Yeah. Oh, but the Star Destroyer, Tarkin Star Destroyer? Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, exactly. But like it's true. Like it's like a game of telephone throughout the galaxy. Like whatever the Ghost Crew's done at this point has had a significant impact on the rebellion. Like they are the rebellion to me.
Yeah, they're a big part of it. So okay, let's jump into Empire Strikes Back for one quick second here. One of the great line deliveries of all time.
I know where you're going with this.
2 fighters against a Star Destroyer?
Yeah.
And
No.
what would Ezra and Dutch say to that? They go, yeah, 2 fighters against a Star Destroyer. What's the problem with that? Because here
We
they
got
are, 2
ion
little guys in
cannons.
these horrible little Y-Wings took out 2 Star Destroyers,
Yep.
which doesn't say a lot about Star Destroyers if they can...
No, they've been
If-
modified though. That's why even Ezra's like, "Whoa, what's that gun on top of your ship?" It's like it's an ion cannon. Watch this.
Yeah, that was the introduction of that. We got that another Easter egg.
I mean, those ion cannons are bad news, though, man. Why doesn't just every ship have an ion cannon? So that seems to be like
Yeah.
the
They're commodity.
well, no, just you want to end the game, just get just get hit with an ion cannon. It's over. You're done.
Yeah, or
Yep.
an EMP, something like that.
Yeah, it's sort of the game changer.
But you had
Um,
mentioned something, Kyle, last week, and Rob, I don't know if you listened to last week's episode, but I think Kyle nailed something here with the introduction of this 3-pronged TIE fighter. I think it's TIE Striker, am I right?
TIE Defender.
TIE
TIE Striker
Defenders?
was the new one from
Rogue One, sorry.
Rogue One.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
So TIE Defender, I think Kyle asked the question, which is awesome, but I really think Kyle nailed it in saying that I think the X-Wing is going to be the response to this ship. And if not, something's got to... That factory's gone, one way or another, on Lothal, because we don't see that ship anywhere moving forward, but I think the X-Wing is the perfect response to this ship.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Yeah. Well, absolutely. I don't know. Maybe we'll get the X-wing like the same. I can't see them using the same thread as they did with the Y-wing. Like, oh, here's the factory. We're just gonna.
We're gonna steal them.
It's got to be from
Yeah,
somewhere.
but like the Y-Wing's a
Yeah,
little
exactly.
piece of junk.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's a
X-Wings
holdover
are
from
like
the Clone
new.
it's got to
and-
be something.
Yeah, from the Clone Wars, but an X-Wing has got kind of like from what I remember as a kid anyway, like Y-Wings are like slow. They got heavy shielding and bombs. Whereas the
Yeah,
X-Wing
it's
kind of
it's a
had a
Y-wing
bit of
bomber.
Yeah. They're the bomber, and the X-wings were
yeah.
like
They had
the
like
fighters.
everything though. They had the shields. The like A-wings are fast and agile with little guns and little shielding. B-wings, big guns. But X-wing had a little bit of everything.
Yeah, or maybe with the what is it? Is it called the Defender? The
Yeah.
3-prong. Yeah, I think maybe they'll find a flaw that is exposed in one of the final episodes here, and then it's like, oh, okay, well those prototypes obviously we can't use them because the rebels know how to defeat them too easily. There's something wrong with them that can't be fixed. So we just
The only way
write
to
'em
beat
out,
them is to
you
fly
know.
them into a nebula.
Hey, did you guys pick up on this? This will be the last thing before we move on, unless you guys have more to say afterwards. But the Imperial who identified himself as the pilot in that TIE Defender. Did you guys pick up on who that was?
No.
Not the voice actor, but the character name.
Who was it?
No.
It was Volt Scaris. That was the Tom Skerritt character from the Antilles Extraction episode.
Oh, right.
Really, eh?
Yeah. So I like that they brought him back for a couple lines anyway. But I like that they keep this little tight continuity there.
Yeah,
So
he's like
he's
the-
obviously one of their ace pilots. They brought him back in
Yep.
with this prototype, and I gotta imagine he'll be back. They didn't destroy that ship, so I think it'll be not long before we see that ship again. Anyway, so that's it for our little Rebels chat. What did we say we were going to call these, Corey?
What's decided now? It's the Rebels rundown.
All right, fair enough. There's our little Rebels rundown for now until next week. Great episode though. I think at the
Yep.
end, when it's all said and done, this episode will be on the list of those must see episodes.
Yeah, top 10, baby.
Great episode. All right, so as I guess become our custom after we talk Rebels, we do some ads edition. So let's hear from the first knight of the Star Wars Commonwealth, and we'll kick around his question.
Evening, Kyle. Evening, Corey. Also, hi to James if you're listening to this later on in Europe. Hope that's going well. So my questions for this week are as follows. So at the end of The Force Awakens, we see Rey looking to pass the blue lightsaber back to Luke. And my question to the two of you is, do you think that Luke will take back the blue lightsaber? Or will he have his green one? Or perhaps even a newly constructed lightsaber? We don't know what he's been up to, obviously, for a number of years now. So, what do you think about that? Personally, I don't think he's even going to touch the blue lightsaber. I think he'll effectively say that is now Rey's. And I also wonder whether we will see him with a brand new lightsaber now. I don't know whether the green lightsaber maybe has been replaced. My second question, I did a poll on Twitter about this, so a little bit more simple. Out of Anakin's blue lightsaber, Luke's green lightsaber, and Vader's red lightsaber, which is your favourite? So, have a great week. I look forward to listening, and I'll catch you again next time. Bye.
And there goes ads once again. Week after week, ads bringing the all-star hits. Rob, I'll kick this over to you first. So will Luke take back the blue lightsaber? Or is he going to be satisfied with his trusty green? Or has he got something new in tow?
He won't take back. I just, from the toy packaging, maybe I'm reading too much into that, but seeing Rey with a blue lightsaber, no, I think she'll keep it. Because it was talking to her. Yeah, I can see him still having his green lightsaber. I can't. I can't see Luke having like one like Kylo Ren, where changing it up too much or something. You know what I mean? I just can't see it. It's gonna stay classic.
Corey?
Yeah, I agreed. I think Rob nailed it there, saying the toy packaging is kind of given away, saying that she's kind of taking over the blue lightsaber. I think he's going to ignite the green. I guess we've seen that going around, hashtag ignite the green, Steel Wars. But, yeah, man, Rob nailed it. With the toys, I think we're seeing she's going to get the blue. I don't think there's much to it. I don't think he's going to have a new one. I don't think we're going to keep with the green and the blue there. Like, there's no reason for him really to have a new one. That's a whole different story that they don't, or a whole different can of worms they don't need to open.
Yeah, or unless he goes like Yoda style in Empire, where we don't see him with a saber. It just takes on a different role altogether.
Like he's
like we know he has it.
That,
we
right?
know we know it's in his hut somewhere, or whatever is going. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't have to. Obviously, he's not. I'm not saying he's going to go Force lightning or anything like that. I'm just saying he's just. Yeah, he's just beyond, like you said, Kyle. He's just beyond it. I could see that happening before him changing sabers altogether.
Can you imagine the uproar if we get through episode 8 and say Luke's done with, and he doesn't ignite his lightsaber? He does nothing with a lightsaber, and that is a report that's circulating that he may not even use his lightsaber in this episode. Although there is concept art with him with the green.
I would be okay with it. Hey, if you would have told me Luke wouldn't have any lines in Force Awakens beforehand, I would have been pretty pissed too. But again, it worked. I'll trust him.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
I'll be disappointed, but yeah, I mean, I have no reason to not trust that whatever they do have in its place will work just as well.
Well, I definitely want to see a lightsaber battle with Luke involved.
That would be nice to see. It would be really nice to see. I'm not going to lie, but just to echo what you guys said, I don't think that Rey is going to give up the blue. I think, or that Luke is going to take it. I think he's going to say that's yours. Now, whether or not it's Rey's forever, or because every Jedi has to build their own, right? Like Luke lost it.
Yep.
Lost that saber. maybe Rey will as well, and she'll have to eventually construct her own. But what about this idea? And this came from a DM, from a listener who had just picked up, or who had just listened to our episode on the Ahsoka book. So Tim Simons. I'm not going to read his whole message, but what about the idea of Luke having a white lightsaber, very much like Ahsoka? What if we've talked about that, right? And Rob, you'll get that you're reading the Ahsoka novel now. I don't know if you've gotten to that point yet, but the significance of the white lightsaber.
It's been pretty spoiled for me. Like, yeah, I just can't. I don't know. If he's gonna, he'll do the Yoda thing, or he'll do the straight. Oh, here's my old green one again. Because even the green, even that has significance. Because Vader held that and said, "Oh, your training is complete. You've constructed your own lightsaber." Like it's still, it's a big part of Star Wars.
Absolutely.
You mean, and even his lightsaber sitting, the Emperor has it, and he's looking at it, going, "Oh, take it. You want it, don't you?" Like it had a lot of. It was a huge, and again on Jabba's barge. It was a huge. It was actually, now I think, it was a massive part of Jedi. So why wouldn't you?
That's a big part missing in Star Wars lore so far, and big fodder for comics, most likely, or novels. Like where did he get this Kyber crystal from? Like, where did he get that lightsaber in between the two movies? Like, is it hand given to him? Like, where did he get it? Is it Qui-Gon's? Like, no one knows.
Oh, we will someday.
Or even better, you can have a scene where Kylo finally gets his hand on the blue lightsaber, and then Luke's battling Kylo with the green one. So you have actually both of his lightsabers.
Oof.
Well, you know what's interesting too? Like, you've watched Clone Wars, right, Rob? Okay, so like, you know how like we know how Kybers kind of work, and the Jedis kind of go through these trials to say like, okay, like when you're in your teenage years, you're gonna go and find your Kyber and blah blah blah. No matter like whatever planet they're on at that time, they're gonna find this. They're gonna go through their certain trial to find it. Why does Ahsoka have two? That's a story that's never been answered. Like, why do certain Jedis have two? That means that, two crystals are calling to her? Which, I thought about that the other day, and I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting. Like, like, that's, right away, you're kind of saying, like, that this person's special. Like, she gets two Kyber crystals.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just her.
Yeah, exactly. It's her destiny, but like just
maybe
to have two, it's like maybe it's just her fighting technique or style, whatever. Yep. But I just thought it's so cool.
Well, maybe when they were, using the Force, and I know what episode you're talking about. It's when they had the younglings and they brought them to the caves, and they all found their own Kyber crystals, and then after they showed them making their lightsabers, maybe. When it was a Force thing, when she was mentally putting together her lightsaber, it's like, no, this is going to come together as two, and we're going to split the crystal. Or it's a good question.
Yeah, I'd like to learn a little more. I'd like to hear a little more about that.
Yeah, on the white lightsaber thing regarding Luke, I was intrigued by the thought. I was like, wait a minute, that completely disrupts my thinking. Like, I hadn't considered that at all. But if things keep kind of pointing to the middle, as we suspect that things are, it could be the same hilt. But suddenly, imagine seeing it in episode 8 and reignites it, and it's a white blade, and oh god, that kind of clearly states what Luke has become and what
it clearly states he's like been to the dark side and back.
And it kind of outlines the Last Jedi, right? This is it. There he is.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, yeah, possibly. And again, I remember hearing this, or was I talking this? Yeah, I think I was mentioning this to somebody before, where every big battle in Star Wars has been won by reaching to the dark side.
Yeah, everybody's kind of had to tip over to the
like when Luke was fighting Vader and Jedi, it's like, well, yeah, well, maybe, if you can't be convinced, I'll just convince your sister.
Let me cut your hand off for you. How do you feel about that now?
Yeah. he just starts hacking away. You know what I mean? Or in all of the big battles, everybody's reaching back to, if I'm going to win this, Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, you killed Qui-Gon. Now I'm going to just snap my crayons and grab a little anger and beat you. You know, like, so for most of it was only Obi-Wan against Anakin that he didn't really reach to the dark to be victorious. But also Anakin wasn't the big bad. He was still his apprentice in Obi-Wan's eyes. So maybe Luke's starting to realize you got to have the yin with the yang. And if, like you said, Kyle, if he lights up and it's white, it's like, oh, okay, that's going to answer a lot of questions for the diehard fan.
And that could be your twist moment, right? Where, oh my God.
Yep.
Anyway, that'll be interesting, and I thank Tim Simons on Twitter for bringing that up, because I hadn't even considered it, and I think it should be considered. Like, I'm still on the, no, he's got his green, like there's no reason for him not to, but I got to say that is worthy of consideration.
I've heard lots of talk about him finding the gray or being the middle. Or I know gray Jedi is an oxymoron. It's you are gray, you are the Jedi.
Yeah, if you're a Jedi, you can't be gray. You're a Jedi.
Exactly. So I've heard a lot of people say that, but to actually see it visually, where at the climax of the movie, and then whatever, Kylo or whoever hunts him down, and he pulls out the saber, and boom, it's white. It's like, oh wow, that would be amazing.
Yep. And then quickly here, adds second question. So out of Anakin's blue, Luke's green, and Vader's red, which is your personal favorite, Rob?
Anakin's blue, but I think that's just nostalgia purposes from watching Luke light her up there in Obi-Wan's.
Yeah, I think we may have a clean sweep here. I'm wondering, Corey, what do you think?
Yeah.
What's that?
Oh, geez. So out of Anakin's blue, Luke's green, and Vader's red, which is your favorite?
Easily the blue, but I think Ads that asked the question on Twitter this week as well, and he made a really good point. And I was at your house not too long ago, and I said, "What is up with this thing? Seriously, like, it's all about the hilt, the handle, like color wise, blue, electric blue, gotta love it. Love the green, love the red, I love them all, but the blue really strikes me. But the hilt of the saber, like." There's nothing ergonomic about it. Like, it's so unuser friendly. Like, how are you supposed to strike someone down with this thing? Like seriously, can't you put a hilt on it? Like, we just talked about that episode with what's his name, Gunji. He's the Wookiee. Now that's a lightsaber hilt I can deal with. It's got a nice grip.
It's a
wooden handle. It's got some like curve to it. The other ones are all bumpy and like. Like, what is wrong with this thing? Like, how are you supposed to handle this thing properly? Like, that's my big thing.
That was with some fire there, Corey. Holy Jesus!
Yeah,
I'm looking at the blue saber. It's Luke's saber or Anakin's original, and I'm like, this is garbage. Like, it's so bumpy and there's no handle.
I could just imagine Corey in a Toys R Us picking up one of the lightsabers.
This is garbage. This is.
No, I don't understand you're supposed to be like the trained fighters of the galaxy. Like, would you not put a handle on your sword? Like, why is it bumpy everywhere? And like, where am I supposed to hold this thing?
Well, they do pretty well for themselves if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you've held the thing. Like,
yeah, it's an ergonomic disaster.
Yeah.
It's like driving.
There's no grip. There's bumps
it's
everywhere.
Like driving a Land Rover.
Where's the on button? Like, it's a mess.
Sorry, let me. I don't want to offend any Land Rover drivers, but seriously, the interior dashboard area of the Land Rover is a nightmare.
Really?
Horrible. At least they used to be. I think they've probably smartened up and hired some proper designers, but they used to be just awful.
Yeah, I would think they would have their stuff together.
Well, I mean, the rest of the car is fine, but the dash, it was like trying to play with a calculator on. Never mind.
Calculators are so difficult.
So you, Kyle, what is it? A
Yeah,
clean
it's a clean
sweep?
sweep. I mean, how can it not be? That saber has just been such a symbol throughout the entire saga. Going back into the prequels, right? It passed from the Chosen One to his son, and now to Rey. So this saber is super old now, and it's passing through all eras of Star Wars that we know of. How can you argue with that?
Well, there's another backstory too, Corey. If you're thinking about Ahsoka's dual sabers, maybe there could be a comic or a little novel about how Anakin put together his
second one.
That
I would love to see that.
Well, no, Anakin, the iconic one that eventually ends up being.
Well, I love that episode. That episode where the kids find their kyber crystals is just, it's a beauty, man. Like my kid, I think I could safely say it's his favorite Star Wars episode ever, like of anything, because he asks for it all the time. Like each one of them one finds their courage, one finds their independence, whatever it is. Like there's a lesson to be learned for everyone. It's so cool.
Yeah, no, it's a really good episode. And a lot of people forget that saber is Anakin's second one. He has one in Attack of the Clones, which gets chopped in half.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people forget that.
Yep.
It's true.
But I don't think Ads was talking about that one.
Yeah.
I really doubt that. If we did, I'm sorry, Ads. We completely ruined your question.
He kept the same kyber crystal.
Yeah.
Did he?
Either that, or I'd love to hold Yoda's. Your hands are huge.
Okay. Ads, thank you once again, sir. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying the show. And can't wait to hear what you got in store for us next week. And lastly, boys, a late entry here into the show from fellow Knight of the Commonwealth, Matt Keegan. I guess just I'll read the question. It's pretty simple. Quick question on the language of Star Wars. Slang plays a big part in people's culture. Every country and culture on Earth has some type of slang that would be foreign to outsiders. So what slang words are known in Star Wars? Kitster famously tells Anakin that it's so wizard. But what other slang is there in the Star Wars universe, be it canon or legends? Who wants to take a stab at this?
I can maybe Spice. Spice might be it's obviously the fill-in for drugs.
Yep.
On in the galaxy far, far away, without saying it. So maybe that's a slang thing. So like, hey man, you want spice? Like you
say no to
not
spice.
Being specific. Exactly. Which one? I can't say no to them. No, yeah, maybe that might be something.
Yeah, I feel like the slang in Star Wars as we know it, and I'll stick to canon because I forget all of the legend stuff.
Yeah,
I feel like most of it is insult based. So Bantha Poodoo or
yeah, I had that on my list. That's one of the ones that
Nerf herder, Moof milker, Jedi scum, rebel scum.
Yep.
Walking carpet, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Laser brain.
Dude, I tried not to. I didn't want to cheat on this. Like, I looked up Star Wars slang and I said, okay, there's lots of like sites on this, but I wanted to sit down and like say like, what can I come up with myself? And man, you guys just knocked off a lot of them there.
My list is painfully short, and I'll probably be embarrassed if other people come out and say, "Oh, you forgot this, you dummy." But I've also got Blast and Carabast.
Carabast, come on, that's one of mine. Carabast.
Yeah.
From Clone Wars, Bucketheads, I think.
No,
that's
come
Rebels,
on.
right?
No, dude, that's from
Clankers.
That's from novels. Buckethead has been around a long time.
Has it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also,
Clankers is Clone Wars. I have that as well.
Yeah.
Bugs. The Geonosians.
Geonosians, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A dupe.
A dupe?
Yeah.
It's a dupe.
Dude, you don't know a dupe?
No.
It's a TIE fighter. It's Legends from X-Wings. Yeah, it's not only X-Wings, it's what you call a TIE fighter is a dupe. Come on.
I thought they were called like eyeballs or something.
Yeah, eyeballs is another term for them. You're right. I don't have that written down, but eyeballs, I remember now, is a term for. Yeah.
I feel like I
Goldenrod.
feel like this is an
No,
episode
that's
that
just-
guys at Blast Points could knock out of the park. They could do like a whole hour on this and kill it.
Imps. No,
Yeah.
that's one. Imps. I clanker. You said that. Eyeballs. Maker. Thank the maker.
Thank the maker. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good. That's an actual slang line. There you go. I remember that it wasn't Star Wars Insider. It was another type of Star Wars magazine throughout the early mid '90s. I think
I remember
maybe
that.
Topps published it, and they had like excerpts from comics.
Yeah.
And one of them was terribly lame, and it was about this dude, and I guess he's never seen a woman in his life, but he sees one, and he says "stang," a female. Stang. What is
Stang.
To me, it
Did
just,
that
it
stick
just-
with you, or do you actually have this comic to like reference?
Well, I still have it, but it stuck with me. I was like, "Stang!" Like, what a dumb thing to say. Like,
Is there
It's like
is
the,
there by
it's the
chance
equivalent of? It's just the equivalent of "dang," I think.
is there
Or
by chance
damn.
a Rhodian?
I bet you those Imperial guys get so much stang.
I think we had the same issue.
Poon stang pie.
Food stang. I don't think I want to try that. Too close to stang.
Oh man. So, well, Corey, since you cheated, you Googled all this.
No, I didn't Google it. I said I Googled to see if there were like lists, but I didn't want to get into it. So I'm tapped.
Oh, you're tapped. Oh, well.
I had Banthapuru, Carabas, Dupe, Eyeball. Like you made me think of Eyeball. Bugs, Buckethead, Nerfherder, Clanker.
But everything seems to revolve around either an insult or a nickname for somebody or something.
Yeah, it's not like they're saying, "Oh, that's pretty sweet." Like that's pretty, like you said, that's so wizard. That's
That's
Yeah.
so wizard is probably that's the pinnacle of Star Wars slang. Kitster has the
Yeah.
Stanley Cup of Star Wars slang.
Oh, cool slang.
Stanley.
Kitster. Oh my god. Oh man.
Kitster is Stonk.
Jesus.
Delete your account.
You love it.
Oh jeez. Well, Matt, I on short notice, I think that's the best we could do for the moment. I'm sure there's more. Sleemo.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Sleemo. There's one. I feel like I want to stay on this, but I think we got to end the show at some point tonight. I think
Yeah.
now is probably the right time to do it.
On that high
on
note.
that high note. But thank you, sir. Thank you, Matt Keegan. Keep doing that artwork of yours. The cat's out of the bag now. People know your Jedi master skills with the pen and pencil. All right, well, guys, that's it. Rob, I gotta thank you, man. Thank you so much for jumping in James's absence.
Well, thank you for having me. I can only sit in his place. I can never replace. So but it's been fun though. It's been awesome. And Corey, this is our first time together. I hope it was gentle.
Yeah, you were very gentle.
Everything
very
we've hoped.
gentle.
Well,
So, Rob, tell the people where they can find you.
you can find me. I'm on the Twitter machine. I am at RobertMMCast. You can hear my monthly show that's on the Talk Star Wars feed. And that's the TSW Roundtable, where I get together with hosts from all around the Star Wars Commonwealth and listeners and knights from all around, and we sit around and we talk about Star Wars, we more to the point, we answer questions from listeners actually participating on the show. Other than that, I also got a weekly show that is not Star Wars related. That's the Roman Podcast, and that comes out every Wednesday afternoon around 3 p.m. And that's my
That's your
how would I
plug.
describe it? That's my plug, but that's just
The place
my
the place
good
where you
buddy
get
Roman
a
and
few
I.
things off your chest, connect with your buddy, and just have some ridiculous fun. Because
It is a fun
love your
show.
Yeah. Thank you. We do have fun. We kind of that's what it is to us. We it's nothing political. It's nothing. It's just, hey, what we say here. I'm sure, much like Montreal, we have long commutes in the Toronto area, where people are in your car for 40 minutes.
I don't have that problem, but yes, it is Montreal recently took the crown of longest commutes in Canada because the construction here, Rob. I can't even tell you how ridiculous it is. And again, I don't have to deal with it.
Exactly.
I have a close commute, but oh god.
There, yeah, exactly. Well, that's what we were thinking here in the Greater Toronto area. We just wanted to put something out. It's only half an hour, 40 minutes long, and if it makes you giggle in your car, fantastic. But yeah, check it out if you like. And but definitely Star Wars. So this has been so awesome, and thank you guys for having me on and letting me be a part of this episode.
No,
cool.
I had a lot of fun. We missed James, but we love getting some new voices on here too. And we were super glad that you were available at this crazy hour that we podcast in.
No, it was awesome, and it was a great time. And Corey, we look forward to having you on the round
can't
table
wait,
sometime.
brother.
That's gonna be awesome.
And Corey, where can they find you?
Come on, bro. It's Chop Rules with a Z.
Right. I forgot.
How dare you?
All right. Ads, thank you, sir. Matt Keegan, thank you again for your questions. Stu Baca, sir, welcome to the club.
Yeah, indeed.
We'll not to nick your ears as we put the lightsaber on both shoulders. Follow Stu Baca at Tales of Geekdom on Twitter. And check out StarWarsCommonwealth.com. Not only for the great podcasts as a part of the network, but also on all the listeners who have been knighted. You can follow them and find some of the projects that they've been working on. And again, some of the other shows on the network include Talk Star Wars, Generation X-Wing, the Rogue Squadron podcast, the Skyhoppers, and the Nerd Room. And as for me, you can find me at Tumbling Saber on Twitter. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and if we can, ask you ever so kindly to head over to iTunes, drop us a 5-star review. We'll read it on the show as we've done, or attempted to do recently. And we would be ever so grateful for that. And other than that, guys, that's it for now. Stay tuned for, I think this is a Sith Disturbers week, if I'm not mistaken. Stay tuned for that. Excited to have that come your way later this week. And until then, hope you're doing well, and we'll catch you on the flip. Bye for now.
I can save you, just don't let me go. And I can see I'll be waiting, always waiting. Just don't let me go. Just don't let me go. Time goes on and I'm questioning all the things I've seen, crazy things I've seen as I'm watching you. I'm watching you walking away from me. Were you watching me?